And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another edition here of the OSC Elite Rising Star number 17, day number 4, part 2 of our broadcast. We were, of course, live earlier today with part 1 with our first 5 best of 3s. Now we have another 5 best of 3s ready for you. I'm, of course, your side VIP with him, joined by these amazing players, by the people in chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome, one and all. We are jumping right back into our OSC Rising Star tournament. For those who are curious, what is this event? This is a multi-month long event. It takes a long time to get through the overall bracket and through all these matches, of course. A lot of players are stepping up and looking to rise up to be our champion. This event is locked. It is locked away from players that have achieved too many accolades in their career. Basically, the top players in the world, players like Clem, players like MaxPax, players like Bjorn, players like Hero, for example, are ineligible for this tournament. This is for, as the name kind of alludes to, it is all about the rising talent in StarCraft. It is all about the more mid-tier players, and the up-and-comers instead. Players like Nicoract, like Foxer, like Mixu, like Shameless, Percival, Young Yakov, the players that are just below. And I say just below, I mean, these are still players that do take it to the best players in the world. They still take maps and still take series, but on a more irregular basis, I should say. But again, this is this event, I believe, runs a couple of times a year and does last quite a number of weeks, if not like 2-3-ish months. And we're here day 4, week 4, essentially week 4 here of the event. We have 5 best of 3s ready for you here tonight, and we will begin with Foxer versus Nicoract. Now, this event is a double elimination bracket, and we are in the lower bracket of the event. We're here in the lower bracket, so this is elimination match. This is where players are going to be starting to be eliminated from the tournaments, and we'll be saying adieu. We'll say goodbye here to one of these 2 players. Very quickly, when it comes to the rest of the bracket, let's quickly head on over here and catch up on the bracket so we can get a bit of idea of where things are and where we have been. Here we go. Okay, so from the top here, bam. Beautiful. We do have our brackets. This morning we were live with the upper bracket. We covered Jumi versus Hydra. You can see here, led into Shameless versus Jumi. Shameless to take down Jumi 2-0, and Shameless is going to be playing against Percival in the next round. We also casted Baby Marine versus Young Yakov. Yakov barely took down Baby Marine, but then did fall to Percival. So we have Shameless and Percival. In my mind, the top 3 players of this tournament are Shameless, Percival, and Young Yakov, one of each race. Like, those are the 3 players that I have my eyes on. Young Yakov is actually the reigning champion. He did defeat Percival in the finals of the last tournament of the previous OSC Rising Star event, so he is the reigning champion, but he's knocked down to the lower bracket. And we have Shameless and Percival facing off in the upper bracket. That'll be next week, I believe that should be next week, just as a heads up. Meanwhile, we still have all these lower bracket matches. There are all these matches down here in the lower brackets, with all these players. Again, we haven't actually had too many elimination matches yet, but we saw Foxer, Nicoract, Sebestes, Middle VK, Brome, Ledlix, Baby Marine, Demi, Hydra, Young Yakov, Jumi, and many others further on the left hand side. Again, plenty of players are still available, still duking it out, and our next series is here. Foxer versus Nicoract. That's our next match. That is our next series. Oh boy. Here we go. So we're going to be jumping to game 1. Game 1 is going to be on Pylon, as this still does incorporate an older map pool. It still does incorporate maps from the previous ladder, I should say, just because the event did begin in the previous season. Just as a heads up. And here we go, spawning in the top left hand corner of Pylon, we have the red Terran player, the red Terran representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the yellow Terran player, the yellow Terran, the American Terran himself. It is Foxer. And if you're in the chats, predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chats as we get into our TVT. Best of luck, Babby. Best of luck. So it is Gamba time. When it comes to the TVT, I do lean towards Nicoract. Nicoract has been excelling quite a bit here in recent weeks, in recent months. Over the past year of play, has been improving a lot. I would say that Nicoract's best matchup is TVP. We've seen him take down the top Protoss players in the world, like Hero, like MaxPax. So give him a Protoss opponent, he has a good chance to bring them down. When it comes to the other matchups, though, that is a little bit more hit and miss. I still do favor him in the TVT, but TVTs can be very chaotic. Mirror matchups in general can be very chaotic here, so we can see Foxer pop off. And if you remember, he had a very exciting and a very close series against Bunny not too long ago. Not too long ago, we had the qualifiers for, I believe it was for the Stellarfest tournament, and Foxter, he did quite well for himself there. Almost did not bring a Bunny down. Went all the way to the ace match and almost 2-0, to be honest. He almost 2-0'd Bunny. Foxter was playing like a beast. We'll see if he can replicate that success. So far, double gas. Double gas open out of Nicoract, double gas open out of Foxter. Both players are going for faster factories, and they're both going for delayed CCs. So faster factories out of both players into faster Hellion production, into a later expansion. It's a bit of a safer way to play a TVT. So save openers out of our players. Meanwhile, welcome to Pylon. Pylon is a very small map. Short rush distance by ground. Aggression is heavily favored here on Pylon, so all-ins are likewise favored as well. So we'll see if either player does commit into something more aggressive. We're expecting aggression once we do look to take our third bases, but we could try to go for something more sinister earlier on as well. We'll see. For now, Reapers are on the way, factories are finishing up, and we're getting to our initial openers. So far, mirrored builds. Builds a mirrored. Oh, Shama, Pappy, Shama. Pappy, when do you sleep? I was here at 1:30 a.m. and now it's 10. We don't sleep, Pappy, we don't sleep. I was able to nap. Basically, whenever we're on this, as Foxter comes out on top, nice pickup here. He takes down the Reaper, so Nicoract does have a bit of miscontrol, and Foxter comes out on top. Big win here early on. But when it comes to our schedule, especially when it comes to our current schedule, when we're casting twice a day, I usually sleep in like 4-hour intervals. Like, I sleep 4 hours, then we cast, then we work, then we sleep another 4 hours, then we cast, then we keep working. Then we oh no. It's fine, Bappy, it's fine. We make do. I think, for example, here, I think I slept 3 hours before the cast. So 3 hours. Yeah, we're fine, Bappy, we're fine. As now the Reaper Hellion does poke in, and again, because of the earlier win, because Foxter took down the Reaper earlier, he does have the stronger force. He delays the CC, kills another Reaper, and for now he's going to be zoned away. He almost gets into the Hellion, kills a second SCV, and Foxter, GG. GG gets called critical damage early on, and Foxter takes game number 1. GG. Este Foxer, GG, well played. It all came down to the first Reaper going down. Because the first Reaper died, that meant that the Reaper Hellion, a follow-up, was even stronger there. So we saw Foxer dominate the low ground, killed 2 SCVs, delayed the CC heavily, and even killed another Reaper and zoned away the Hellion. Nicoract could not maintain his low ground, and this is also why, winding it back, something that we should talk about. In TVT, it is typically ill-advised to move out with your first Reaper. If you lose your first Reaper, this can happen. So that was Nicoract being a little bit too greedy, being punished for that greed, and with that, getting into game 2. GG, well played. Foxter taking a lead in the series very fast, game 1, and now we're loading into game number 2. And I would imagine that Nicoract is going to be a little bit more conservative with his Reaper. Let's go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the red Terran player. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. For the Platinum Heroes, it is Nicoract. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the yellow Terran player. We have the yellow Terran player himself leading the series 1-0. It is Foxer. Here we go. And welcome to Ultra Love. Ultra Love is, I would say, another relatively aggressive map. It has an accessible third base, has an accessible fourth base, has this area in between the bases as well that can be abused. So we typically have the extremes on this map. Either the game ends early or it ends very late. The reasoning for this is if you can secure yourself on 4 bases, then you can gain map control. These choke points come into play. The choke points in the center of the map as well. You can see these very narrow bridges. It can be very difficult to actually traverse past these bridges and past these choke points, and as a result the game can slow down quite heavily. So a map of extremes. Once again, Nicoract at double gas opener out of our red Terran, once again going for the faster factory, but we do expect to see Nicoract just be a little bit safer with his first Reaper and not lose it across the map. Meanwhile, Foxter, he does mix things up. Single gas guys are out of Foxter, going for a Rax expand, a more of an economic start out of our yellow Terran this time. This is a little bit risky in general, like it is standard to go for a delayed CC and go for a faster factory, so we do see some risks being taken here by Foxter, but because he's up in the series, he feels like he can get away with cutting corners and taking that risk. Now here comes the SCV scouts, and Nicoract, he will confirm the CC timing, so he's aware of how greedy his opponent's being. Now, a couple of things here. Nicoract, because of this scout, he also knows that the factory is delayed and there's going to be a big power spike early on with the faster factory of Nicoract. So he knows he can be more aggressive. He also scouts the Marine. No Reapers. That also means that this time, Nicoract can actually move out with the Reaper without any care in the world, without being concerned about being hunted down, as there are no opposing Reapers to stop him this time. So I mentioned earlier that I expected Nicoract to be a little bit more conservative with his units early on, but because of the scouting, he knows he can be more aggressive. So the Reaper does move out, poking up the ramp, gets into the main base, delays the factory. Nice pickup here. So yes, he's forced off the factory. What that Nicoract does pull away. Factory will continue, but again, it was delayed. And now we have more Reapers, more Hellions rallying. And again, as I mentioned before, this time this Reaper is under no real threat. Nicoract does reinforce, moving with 2 Reapers. Gets a Marine, no bunker. Ooh, no bunker on the low ground. That is greedy. So if our Foxtree does hold the line, we'll lose 1 Marine. Behind this, getting a starport, going for a 1-1-1. A Hellion is on the way. With the help of the Hellion, Nicoract, he will take over control of the natural. And he knows it. And we can see the Foxtree, he is not saturating the low ground. He knows that he has no control of that natural base. Hellion tries to bust in. Oh, we'll lose a Reaper, but the Marines are getting picked up. So a bit of a back and forth. Nicoract loses a Reaper. At the same time, Foxtree loses 1 Marine. We have more Hellions, more Reapers rallying. Nicoract, he wants to break into the main. Oof. His army does line up. Nice splash damage there from Foxer with those Hellions. And now we're expanding. And even though Nicoract had a delayed CC, because he's been delaying all this mining time, it means that Nicoract, he catches up. He's catching up in workers, getting his own base. At this point, he has to get the hell out of here. He wants that Hellion. Jesus. It's baited. He's baited. He has to pull away. And Foxer holds. It was a greedy defense here, defending without a bunker, but alas, he does hold on. He does defend. Eventually resaturates the low ground. And behind this, building up into Cyclones. Cyclones, Ravens. Foxer playing safe. Nicoract instead going for the earlier tank production. Oh, do you see what I see? A little bit old school. Second starport, 2 base all in here out of Foxer. Now I say 2 port, 2 base all in. This is the more modern variation. This is not an all in. It is hyper aggressive, but this will hit with 2 Ravens. In the past, this kind of build would hit with a mass amount of Vikings into a Liberator, and you just send everything across the map. But here, as we're investing into these Ravens, there's going to be a little bit more finesse with the army. It does hit later, and I believe it does allow you to get a 3rd command center. But regardless, it's still very aggressive. So the goal here is that once you get your Ravens up, you're going mass Viking. You're making nothing but Vikings. You'll take over the skies, and then you take over the ground with your Ravens and with your Liberator supports as well. How do you deal with this? I mean, one, has to be scouted. If Nicoract is able to scout this, he can react and respond with his own 2nd starport and try to fight for air control. So Nicoract does catch one of the Hellions behind this, going for a 3rd TC. Very greedy here from Nicoract. Going for the 3rd base. And you can see here come the reacted Vikings. As we mentioned before, the goal here is for mass Viking to take over the skies and to eventually take over the ground. How do you take over the ground? Once you make, like, I want to say maybe 6 Vikings, you go for Liberators. And Liberators, they can just siege up and just bully the ground army. Nicoract, he himself is being somewhat active. Building up his bio. Has units here to spot the move out. Seeing the amount of Vikings is going to be a tell, as there shouldn't be this many this early on, but he hasn't seen the army yet. Nicoract does spot the move out, and now he knows. Yeah, he sees the Vikings. We'll bleed out a Hellion. Nicoract is going to try to engage ahead of time. Try to slow this down. Does have the higher tank count. Ooh, brutal lock-ons. One of the Ravens falls. And you can see that Nicoract is holding the line. He's delaying the push. And how do you move through this without disables? You don't. So he has to break out. There's the scan. Nicoract, does he on siege? Oh, he does not. Yeah, lands one, lands two disables. Tanks are moving in. But there are so many Marines behind this. Nicoract, can he hold on? Oh my god, just barely. He holds on, the tank survives. He's rushing in, and Nicoract, he breaks the main army, he takes care of all the tanks, he breaks on through, and this was meant to deal critical damage. Remember, Nicoract, he's got a third TC. He's already got a third base. Foxtrot's zone is still in production, he just lost his entire army. Again, Nicoract, he barely had nothing. Again, so crucial as well that he was able to hold the line at that ramp, at that bridge. And Nicoract now he can counterattack, lands the Vikings, getting within range of the mineral line. And Foxtrot has nothing. There's no defensive tanks. Yeah, not yet. There's no tanks, only Vikings. So losing workers, losing control of his natural, barely any mining going on. And Nicoract, he lands his third. The third base is up and running. Ay, ay, ay. And Nicoract can just keep going in. Doesn't land the disable. But nice target firing. Brings down the tank. Boys are being pulled into Vikings. And again, this is critical damage. 20 SCV kills. Oh, I guess the Raven as well. Takes down the Raven. Not Foxtrot, he barely holds on, but it costs him everything. It costs him 20 workers. His economy is crippled. He does not have his own third TC, but he is behind. And his advantage was meant to be the Ravens. Was meant to be the Ravens, the Vikings, but not anymore. He lost that lead. Now, Nicoract does not have to push in. He is rallying, true, he's rallying across, but he does not have to push into the bases. He can just chill, get up to 3 base saturation, throw down his production, throw down his upgrades, and just build up and look to max out. And just contain Foxtrot on 2 bases. That's what he's got to do. Just contain. Keep him pinned back. Keep him pinned. Nicoract, he pulls away. Yeah, he pulls away. You can see he's just backing up back at home. Sensor tower, full 3 base saturation. Now getting a 4th on location. Ay, ay, ay. Again, just getting further ahead. And he just has to make Foxtrot fight for his 3rd. Speaking of, Star steps in. Shouldn't kill the CC. But gets 2 SCVs. We have a second army coming in from the left-hand side. You can see Foxtrot is being spread thin. There's a stable, and he will lose another tank. And Foxtrot is just being pulled apart. Viking goes down. Marines, they stim into the mineral line. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, pulls the boys into the Marines, and you can see Nicoract trades so well here. Gets another 11 SCVs. Dropping into the main base. And Foxtrot, he can barely clean this up, but again, at what cost back? Oh god. Because of 17 SCVs, there's still Marines in the main, they just now pick up. Jesus, the 1 HP medevac, let's go. Barely gets out. And yeah, he's all in. Yeah, it's all or nothing here for Foxtrot. The boys are being pulled, either he ends the game or he dies trying, or either he kills Nicoract or he dies trying. Marines, they hit the 3rd. And what do we have? We have half the Marine counts. Oh god. GG. GG gets called. Nicoract, he will tie things up. And we are going to the ace match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. We tie things up here again. Just a really rough stuff from Foxtrot. He was so committed to his 2-port build, to his 2-port timing, and we saw that he was unable to get past the halfway mark. And with that, GG. With that, he lost everything. He fell so far behind. He was getting a 3rd CC, true, but it was so much more delayed compared to Nicoract, and he just couldn't land his 3rd. When he tried, he was punished. He just could not land his 3rd base. Could not expand. GG. GG, well played, and with that, we're now getting into the ace match, and we'll see how this story ends as we load into Tokamak. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tokamak, we have the red Terran player for the Platinum Heroes, tying up the series 1-1. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the yellow Terran player. The yellow Terran, the American Terran, it is Foxer. We go. So we are going to be setting up. And Foxer, he moves out across the map early. You have my attention. And he moves out. He's rallied here towards a proxy location. But what I find interesting here is that he's got one Rax at home. So very uncommitted here. It's going to be a proxy 2 Rax, 1 proxied, 1 at home, Mass Reaper. And this can find some damage here. But again, it's not really the most committed build. It's designed to punish the Terran player being greedy. Remember last game we did see Foxer going for a Rax expand, and he's hoping that Nicoract is doing the same, but as we can see, Nicoract is going double gas opener, so he's going to have the factory, he's going to have the Hellion, he'll be okay. So again, a cheeky build here by Foxer, but it doesn't quite pay off. There's still potential, for sure, but Foxer, he shouldn't find damage. Nicoract, he dips in with the SCV scouts. He confirms that the Rax is back at home. He gets eyes on the gases. So his own factory on the way. And he is checking for a proxy. Does check the 4th location. He goes further out and he confirms. Yeah, he sees everything. The proxy factory? Jesus. Folks, she was committing to a 1 base all in, forced to cancel. Not like this, Pappy. Not like this. Very delayed factory. Rebuilds it back at home. I didn't realize just how committed Foxer was going here with his build. And he gets shut down. He gets shut down in the end. Foxer, he's denied. He's looking for a way in. Nicoract, he does shoot first. Yeah, Nicoract shoots first. KDA charge pops up. And he chases down one of the Reapers. Gets one. And this is just a very rough start for for Foxer. Losing a Reaper, getting scouted, cancelling the factory, having to rebuild. There's no CC, and Nicoract has got his own on the high ground. Nicoract ahead in almost every. Oh no! Oh, the Reaper! He gets caught out! Oh god. Reaper does barely get away. Oh, nice trap. They do trade. They trade out 2 for 2. Nicoract has to get the hell out of here. Yeah, it does pull away, but there are reinforcements. A bit of miscontrol there by Nicoract, but overall he still does come out on top. Still chasing down Foxer. And behind this, Foxer goes for a CC on the high ground, a starport as well, but everything is so heavily delayed. Nicoract, he does overextend. And Nicoract, he should not be here. He gets 1 SCV. Delays the starports, gets a full scout. And things getting chaotic. Yeah, things getting very chaotic here. Again, this damage should not be happening, but he does get 2, 3 more SCVs. Okay, Foxer, he's back in this. 4. Do we get 5? 5 SCV kills. 6. Jesus. 6 SCVs go down. That should not have happened. But again, that was Nicoract overextending. And Foxer, he's double expanding, going for a 3rd CC in the main base before the natural's even done. I mean, that's how desperate Foxer is. But okay. Taking a risk, taking a chance. If Nicoract is passive, then Foxer can get away with this. And this is a way to recover in this game. It's been a rough start for Foxer, but he has a way back in. Has a way. Foxer, he's gonna get punished for this. The Reapers, the Hellions will go down. Oof. As Cyclones in the early game, they dominate. Oh, there's the scan. Was being pre-pulled. Oh no, that had missed rally with the Liberator. Liberator goes down. Not like this, Foxer, not like this. And again, Foxer is heavily reliant on Nicoract scans. Never mind. I was gonna say he's heavily reliant on Nicoract not pushing, but because of the scan, Nicoract, he sees the third CC, he knows how greedy Foxer has been, and that is a prompt now for Nicoract to be aggressive, to move out, to be assertive, and to deny the natural, so deny the third base of the Terran of Foxer. Oh boy. So again, that was a crucial scout. Has here press the Cyclones before pushing. And here he comes. Now what do we have? So Nicoract, he has 3 Ravens. He's going to have 3 Ravens. He will have 3 tanks as well. He rallies across the map. So Nicoract, he's going to have an equivalent attack count. But more importantly, Nicoract has Ravens and Foxer does not. So Raven's going to play a big part here when it comes to the big engage. Tanks will be disabled. And if Nicoract wants to, he could try to break this position. There's no bunkers. Yeah, 3 well-placed disables, and this position is going to be broken. He's going for it. Yeah, he's just going for it. Gets 1, gets 2. 2 disables go up. Tanks will siege, the boys are being pulled, and Foxer's going to lose everything. Massive shots, massive connections. The tanks go down. 2 tanks, they do pull back to the mineral line, but that's still 17 SCV kills back. Oh god. 18 SCVs. Tanks are within range of the CC. And there's nothing that Foxer can do here. Like, he's just stuck here in his main. Nicoract getting his own 3rd CC. That command center is burning, by the way. It's slowly burning down. Okay, floats over. There's a repair. And here he comes. Foxer pulls the boys. It's all or nothing for Foxer. He runs into 3 tanks. The tanks, they hold the line. 1 tank barely goes down. He gets 1. He's going to get 2. Barely gets 2 tanks, but only 2. 1 tank still survives. GG gets called, and Nicoract will take the series 2-1, knocking Foxer out of the tournament. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Nicoract. Foxer did make a series out of it, but here we saw that Foxer, he was punished one too many times. Here in the ace match, it was a bold move for Foxer to go 2 racks, with proxying one of them, and then going for a proxy factory as well. That was very, very bold. It was a risky move, and he was punished for it. It did not pay off. You know, risks, that's the reason why they're risky, papi. You know, there was a chance was made. He gambled a little bit. He was punished for it, and he just fell behind early on. Did have a nice moment where he was able to get Reapers in the mineral line and kill 6 SCVs. True, like that was a nice moment, but it wasn't enough to fully recover. And as we mentioned, his goal there was to be hyper greedy with a 3rd CC, but he didn't get away with it. Didn't get away with it. Got scanned, got scattered. GG. That was the reason why Nicoract pushed, is because he noticed how greedy his opponent was being. And with that, we are now getting into our next series here. So Nicoract will advance on into the next round, and we have another matchup. It's going to be a PVZ between Mute and Mixu in a best of 3. Let's go. Let us go. We have a PVZ coming up ahead of us here. We're jumping into game number 1. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Persephone, we have the Finnish Zerg player. We have the red Zerg. It is Mixu. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the teal Protoss player, the teal Protoss himself, representing Bing Bong Exports from land of Peru. It is Mute. El Peruano, papi, el Peruano. Here we go, the best Protoss player in all of Latino America. Has been excelling quite a lot over the past year of play. has been excelling quite a lot, has been improving quite a lot, and we'll see how he compares to Mixu. Mixu likewise has been looking a little bit better in recent months. Mixu, I would say he was a little bit more inactive in the middle of the year, but in recent weeks and recent months, especially with Mixu traveling, right, with Mixu going to SC for All and going to Stellarfest as well, Mixu has been on that grind, has been improving, and wasn't looking too bad at all in those offline events. So we'll see how he compares, we'll see how he competes, we'll see if he can hold his own against Mute. Oh boy. Mute does move out. From here, Hatch Gas Pool, send the open out of Mixu. Likewise, Mute's going for his own standard build as well. Gate expand into Cybercore. Everything looking as it should. And from here, we're going to Persephone. Now, when it comes to the meta of ZVP, it has been changing quite a bit. Speaking on Mute, he's typically a more mid-game oriented player, so we should be seeing like a standard opener into maybe early Twilight Council into early Blink. That's kind of maybe the most that we expect out of aggression out of Mute. We'll see if we see like Labor Depths or something like that, but usually it's very mid-game oriented. Likewise, so is Mixu. We do expect to see some layer tech all-ins, some mid-game all-ins out of Mixu as well. For the time being, though, we're in the early game and we're just settling into our builds. Welcome to Persephone. Persephone is one of the older maps in the previous map pool, still in this tournament, just because this event did begin earlier in the year. It did begin before the new season went live. And this map does have a very kind of split map scenario here. Because there are so many bases here on the edges of the map, there's no bases in contention in the center, so because of that we aren't really expanding towards each other, so we can cut the map in half and enter a late game. The one exception to the rule here is this center gold base, and this is typically where a lot of engagements do occur and where a lot of action can occur in the late game as well, so you can test for the gold, but again, that's in the late game. In like a split map, you know, Sky Toss versus Corrupted Brood Lord Infestor Viper kind of army. We'll see if we get there. That's now we're building up. First Oracle's moving out. No Gamba. Oh, true. My apologies. If you're in the chat, get your Gamba going. Predictions are open. Place your bets. Early Eva Chamber tells us this will be +1 melee, so early +1 melee out of Mixu. Going into Ling Hydra. Let's get your predictions in. It is going to be Twilight Council follow-up here into the Forge, but standard timing. Okay, for a moment there I thought it was earlier, but no, standard timing. Likewise, Lair follow-up after the Evo Chamber. Oh, going for the safety Roach Warren. Okay, Mixu playing it safe. Oracles dive in, no Sport the natural, and he's gonna be punished for it. Yeah, losing 4, 5, 6. Oh my, 7 drones. Gee, 8 drones go down. That should not have happened. No Spore here at the third base either. Yeah, Mixu coming. And Laser, is that you? Oh god, 13, almost 14 drones. The Oracles, they both get away. Aye, that is a brutal start for Mixu. That should not have happened. There was a Spore in the main base, but only in the main, and he was heavily relying on the Queens to defend, and was not worth it. Was not worth it in the end. Jesus, and with that, Mixu is playing from behind. There's that melee upgrade that we spoke about. Behind this, we have +1, Blink, Temple Archives are working towards Storm, getting in towards the mid game. Mute is looking very comfortable. Oh boy. Went behind Spire. Okay. So Mixu, he's behind. He's in a really rough position. Going into mutas is a way to catch your opponent off guard. If the Spire goes unscouted, then Mixu has potential. He has potential here to pop off with his mutas, especially if mute is passive. And mute, based on this setup here, delaying his gateways, going for the early storm, he is going to be more passive here. He's going to be more defensive. Yep, you can see he's walling up. He's just fully walling up. So Mixu is safe. Mixu, he's safe. He can get away with the Spire. And we'll see what he does with it. So here we go, we have our 9 mutas on the way. 9 mutas being sent out. Again, 0 scouting at a mute. You can see he's throwing, Jesus, look at this, he's throwing down a wall of cannons, shield batteries, robo, like, mute, he is ready for like a Roach all-in or a Lingbane Hydra all-in. He's not ready for mutas at all. So this, I mean, despite that though, we do see cannons on the way, like he's being hyper-turtly, Jesus. Throwing down more cannons. We'll bring in more stalkers. Mutas are getting to the main base. They're going for the cannon. They will bring it down. Cannon does fall. Late reaction out of mute. Yeah, late reaction. Mutas, they take over the stalkers. The rest of the army does respond. And mute will defend. And you can see that mute didn't really lose much here, except for mining time. And mute, he's building up his death ball. Now, unfortunately, mute is going to have a really hard time expanding. He should already have a 4th by now. But what did mute do? He chose to wall up. He chose to get cannons, pylons, shield batteries, more cannons, more pylons, more gateways. And that means there's no 4th. There's no 4th base. So getting into a longer macro game, mute doesn't really have the best setup. But Mixu already also has his own deficit as well. True. So we have that back and forth. 3 probes going down, getting to 4, getting to 5. 5 probe kills. Once again, the stalkers are trying to keep up. For some reason, no Phoenix production, especially with this many mutas, and we have more mutas on the way. I'm a little bit surprised here, but no, 0 Phoenixes on the way. Yeah, heavily reliant here on the stalkers instead. The Lings, they flood into the bases. The wall is wide open. Storm doesn't quite connect. And Mute's being pulled apart. Wow, he's being pulled apart completely here. It was such a strong start from Mute, but the Muta play has worked out. Yeah, it's paid off very well here. 19 probe kills. Once again, Storm doesn't really connect. Lings, they wreak havoc in the natural. Mute is back into the main base. And Mute is being pulled apart. Bleeding out a couple of mutas, but remember, there's no 4th, right? There's no 4th base. Mixu, he's safe to just get another expansion, join up to 80 workers, and max out. And again, Mute had such a strong start, but the follow-up was lacking, right? Didn't scout, didn't confirm. And his reaction to the mutas has been subpar. Once again, storms are not connecting. Oh god, that's 3 storms, 4. The storms are not connecting. Not like this. Mutas, they dance away, they pick up the High Templar. Nice control here by Mixu. Very nice control. And Mixu is maxed. Mixu is maxed out. Takes on 2 more stalkers. At this point, I feel like he could just aim move in with these Lings. I don't know if you noticed it, but Mixu, he actually pulled away. Bleeding out more mutas, replacing them instead. Behind this, I would want to see Mixu get an infestation bit and start taking up into Hive. There it is. There's the infestation bit. Hive is on the horizon. And that should be for ultras. And Mixu has to keep trading. That's the thing here. He has to keep trading. He cannot just let some mutes recover. As we've just gotten out of hand here. How many mutas? We have 23. Oh my god. Massive storm on the Lings. Jesus. No Bailey Nest either. Oh, I just assumed that we had one. Mutas, they dive into the main base, and Muti's all in. Muti's really all in. And one well-placed storm. Oh god, speaking of. Storm zones away. Muti can still end the game with this army. So the Mutas are now in the natural. Remember, 0 Banelings, just purely Ling. Mutas are being thrown away. Throwing away 3 Mutas. And there's a lot of storms available. The Lings have to be so careful with that engagement. He just goes to the base trade. He just commits. We're going for the base trade. Again, Mixu, we cannot fight the army head on. The Ling Muta is just so fragile. But I believe that Mixu should win by elimination. I believe he should be able to kill every building here. There are just so many Lings for that. Drones, they evacuate. More hatcheries going down. The natural has fallen, now busting into the main. The prison recalled. Oh, I think that was a bit of a misclick. Or maybe he tried to recall the prism to save some probes, but then they shouldn't be saved. They shouldn't be saved. No. They should not be saved. There we go. They're being hunted down. 0 probes left. And GG. GG gets called. Mixu will win the base trade, and Mixu takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Mixu will take a lead in the series. Again, Mute had a very strong start to the game, but as we mentioned, he had a very lackluster response and reaction to the Mutas. Not just that, but he was also trying to hard counter like a Roach all in. If you remember, Mute, he decided to not expand. He didn't get a 4th base. Instead, he walled off with cannons, he walled off with gateways, he threw down shield batteries, he just turtled up on 3 bases instead, weakening himself, making himself weaker in the long run because he just never tried to expand, never had a good economy. And when the Mutas arrived, again, he had a lackluster reaction to them as well. He never made a Phoenix. He had the Stargate. He could have made Phoenixes, but he underreacted instead, relying on his Stalkers, and we saw that he was just caught out of position one too many times. GG, well played. Mute was pulled apart. And with that, Mixu takes the lead, and now we're jumping to game number 2. And again, a really impressive comeback here out of Mixu because he was behind. Like Mixu, he lost so many drones at the start of the game. He shouldn't have been able to recover, but Mute's, the aftermath of that was a little bit odd from Mute. But here we go. Okay, we're getting into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ultra Love. We have the red Zerg player, the red Zerg player himself, the Finnish Zerg, leading the series 1-0. It is Mixu. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Peruvian Protoss player. We have the teal Protoss. It is Mute. For Bing Bong Exports. Here you go. But again, just a really lackluster reaction here from Mute and response from Mute when it comes to the Mutas. He was punished for it, and hopefully he can tighten up if we do end up in a similar scenario. Hopefully. So now we are building up. Standard openers, hatch gas pull out of Mixu, and likewise me going for his own gate expand as well. And once again, we should be having a pretty tame early game. Welcome to Ultra Love. Ultra Love is known for all-ins, by the way. We would often see a lot of German taxis on Ultra Love, so I'm not going to put that past Mixu. Mixu, I don't see him going into Mutas again 2 games in a row, but I do see him being more aggressive here. And we'll see if that actually works out. I will say that Mute, he was kind of like blindly getting ready for an all-in. He was blindly getting ready for a ground-based all-in. And I can see Mute doing that again. It feels like that's just his style. We've casted Mute plenty of times, and he's typically a more defensive player, to his detriment at times. We'll see. calming down. There's a Stargate opener once again. I mean, Mute was very successful with the early Stargate aggression last game. We'll see if we can do it again. From here comes the first Oracle. Likewise, Mixu is joining. We'll see if he gets more than one spore. Last game, we only had one spore in the main base. He was punished for it. Hoping to see some spores at the natural and at the third as well. Keep an eye on Mixu. This first Overload is hunted down. That does supply block Mixu, at least for a moment. First Oracle moves out. And the second Oracle's on the way. Likewise, Mute did go for the Stalker, so I didn't really bring that up, but he did go for the Stalker follow-up, so Mute has 0 Adept Aggression here, which is, I would say, a little bit abnormal. Going for the Stalker to hunt down the Overlord is typically designed to hide tech and to hide the tech from your opponent, but the Link does scout the Oracle. And because there's no Adept Aggression, that means that Mixu, he can just drone up even harder. A lot more drones than usual. There we go. Here comes the second Spore. One in the main, one in the natural. Queens are at the third. But these are also a little bit late. But they will finish. They will finish time. Finish up in time. Queens this time they're on the Oracle. Oh no! Does find his way into the third. Gets one. Gets two. Oh, barely gets three. Three drone kills, decent damage. Once again, we have the Forge, we have the Twilight Council, looks like the same follow-up, +1 on Blink. And Mute is not finding as much damage. Oh. Yeah, this time a much cleaner defense out of Mixu. Upgrades are on the way. Yep, once again into Temple Archive, same build. Same build here, 2 games in a row to Mixu. He's once again being very tech heavy. He's once again not applying any pressure, and he's allowing Mixu to drone up as much as he wants. I'll say that this is a style that works really well on larger maps. On maps like Tokamak, on Maganatha, on Incorporeal. Just because you have more room between yourself and your opponents, and you can get an easier 4th base as well. Here on Ultra Love, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for you to expand, is what I'm getting at. As Mixu sees the wall. Where are we going? Here comes the creep, here comes the queens, and Mixu's cutting workers. Now, I assume that Mixu is just going to drone up his 4th base and build up in towards a later game, but no, Mixu is going for a 3-base all-in. 3-base all-in at 68 workers, cutting workers at 3-base saturation, 0 drones at the 4th, purely roaches, queens, lings, and creep spread. So Mixu is going for the all-in. I'm not so sure if this is going to work out well for Mixu, I'll be honest. Mute, he is being very defensive already, but Mute, he gets a 4th base. And this is what I was worried about. I did just mention that a 4th base with this kind of style, it's going to be difficult to maintain. I don't see Mute defending that 4th. Not like this. Here comes Mixu. He's almost maxed out with roaches. Just Roach Queen. Mixu is pushing in between the bases, in between the natural, the 3rd, and the 4th. gets scouted, and we're just going straight for the kill. I'm just going straight for the main. Storm does land. Does find the Stalkers, and he's headed for the fourth. Headed for the expansion. A nice hit squad here. Snipes one High Templar. Templar goes down. Fourth base should be cancelled. Should be cancelled. Ooh, that's a kill. That should not have happened. He's rushing through the storms. Oh my god. There's a lot of damage on the roaches, but they break through. They break through. They take down every single High Templar. And again, there's 0 immortals. There's no immortals here. There's no charge lots. There's not many stalkers. And Mixu, he's breaking through. He's breaking through the defensive line. A lot of stalkers are going down. Again, there's just not enough on the ground here. Just one shield battery. And Mixu, he was so comfortable this game. So incredibly comfortable. GG gets called, and Mixu, he takes the series 2-0, taking down and eliminating Mute from the tournament. GG. Whew, GG, well played. A very strong showing here by Mixu. I will say that game 1 was Mute's game to lose, right? Mute, he was in such a good position in game 1, but then his follow-up was lacking. He was very defensive, and he was lacking scouting. He had no idea that Mutas were coming, and Mutas, they just tore him apart. Here in game 2, we saw that this time the oracles weren't really doing any damage, but not just that, there was no adept harass either. It was very tech heavy. It was very safe, like quote unquote very safe, very defensive build on 3 bases, and it meant that Mixu was free to just drone up as heavily as possible and get into his all-in as freely as possible as well. As we mentioned, this was a very comfortable game for Mixu, as there was barely any pressure being applied to the Zerg player. And because he was so tech heavy, it also meant that the army was very small for Mute as well. Very, very small. He was building up into a 4th base as well, which he could never hold on to. He was spread thin. GG. GG, well played. With that Mixu, he will claim the series. And with that, we are getting up to that halfway mark of the broadcast. Now, we're going to be coming to a short break, and we're going to be following Mixu. Mixu, he's going to advance on into the next round. And up next is going to be Mixu versus Sebestas. Sebestas, he is, I would say, a higher tier player compared to Mute, but he's also a player that doesn't really compete too much. Like Sebestas, he's a very inactive player. He plays in tournaments every now and then, but nowhere near as much as like Shameless or Young Yakov or Nicoract or Geralt or Christiana. Like, he's just not as active as a player. So I always have a really hard time kind of like placing Sebestas and how good he is, like his current skill level. How does he compare to Mixu? In my mind, they're quite close in skill, but we'll see. We'll see together. For now, we're going to be going on a short break. When we come back, Sebestas versus Mixu will be coming at you. See you soon. See you soon after the break. welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to the OSC Rising Star number 17 broadcast for day number 4. We are halfway through the broadcast. I mean, kind of halfway. We have 5 best of 3s. 5 best of 3s, and we just wrapped up with 2 of them. We just wrapped up with Nicoract versus Foxer and Mute versus Mixu. Mixu was able to take his series against Mute, and now he's up against another Protoss opponent. And now we do have Mixu up against Sebestus, also in the lower bracket in the second round. They're about to face off in another PvZ. Oh, and we're going to be loading into a very old map. I mean, I say very old. It's a couple of years old. It's been a couple of seasons here. We're going to be loading into Ancient Cistern. If you're watching this, if you're curious, like, hold up. Why are we loading into Ancient Cistern? What's going on? The same reason we just loaded into Ultra Love. It is because this tournament does allow players to vote on maps. They can vote on maps. They can vote on what maps they want to embrace and they want in their map pool in the tournament. And this map was voted in, and here we go, spawning in the bottom hand corner of Ancient Cistern. We have the yellow Protoss player, the yellow Protoss representing Team Roddy from the land of Czechia. It is Sebestus. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the Finnish Zerg player, we have the blue Zerg. It is Mixu. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our PvZ. Let's go. Whew. Let us go. So we are jumping in. Now, coming into this, my assumption, of course, is that Sebestus, he is a slightly higher tier player compared to Mute, and he can take it to Mixu. But as I mentioned previously before the break, I don't really know how to play Sebestus at the moment. Sebestus, he is less active compared to players like Geralt, players like Cristiano, players like Shameless, for example. There's a lot of other players out there that are just more active, that play in almost everything. Sebestus, he's less active. He's a lot more selective with what he does and what he doesn't actually compete in. So it's a little bit harder, for me at least, to kind of gauge the skill of Sebestus. Is he in form? Is he not in form? Is he rusty? You know, is he actively playing, actively practicing? We're about to find out. About to find out. So now we have our standard openers. Now welcome to Ancient Cistern. Ancient Cistern was around a couple of years ago in the map pool. It was known for being a very large map. It is a very large map, but it's also a very open map as well. So it has that kind of other factor to it where you can knock down these rocks, you can open up the center, and it can be very difficult to actually push as a Protoss player without getting surrounded. Likewise, the bases themselves are a little bit more open. You can open up the center ramp area to rotate between the bases. We'll see if Mixu can break a turtling player, assuming that Sebestus does try to rush into Sky Toss. I know that Sebestus, he's known for his Sky Toss play, is known, of course, for being on Team Roddy. You know, the Phoenix is the logo of the team, so I mean that says something. So we'll see. We shall see. Oh, and as yes, este Grospapa, este Slow Joe as well. Meet him. Mute is annihilating their fellow mutes. Oh no. I didn't notice that when I was casting, that I felt almost redundant saying mutas and mute as well. Like it was becoming a bit much. Save them together. Yeah. Here we go. For now, we're building up, and we should be droning, saturating. Oracle should be on the way into a third base, into our tech of choice. If we ever see a deviation, we'll take note of that. Basically, we're waiting to see, do we go for an early Evo chamber, early roaches, early lair? So what is the tech going to be from Mixu? Likewise, for Sebestus, we want to see the timing of the Twilight Council. We know it's coming, but is it as soon as the third base gets thrown down? Is it halfway through? Is it towards the end? Is it before the third expansion? When is the tech? You want a nice snipe by Sebestus. That should not have happened, but he does get an Overlord. Ay, ay, ay. Does apply block Mixu, and Sebestus, he does waddle the hell out of there. So nice pickoff. Once again, similar to Mute, Sebestus, he does not open up double adepts, so he doesn't have any adepts to harass the mineral lines, but he still finds some damage with the Stalker, so not bad. Still did find some damage. Does walk back. There's that third expansion, and we should soon be seeing the tech. As the Oracle does stay back home, we have a second Oracle on the way. Sebestus being a little more passive here. And there it is, Forge and Twilight Council, standard follow-up. Getting into Blink. So standard follow-up here out of Sebestis. We do have the early Roach Horn, no Evo Chamber. Okay, so no Chamber here out of Mixu, no +1 melee, going for Roaches, which can lead into a Roach heavy style. And we could even see a 3-base Roach all in just like last game. Or we could see Roach into Hydras instead. We'll keep an eye on Mixu. 2 up, second one-shot workers. They shade in towards the third. Heading on over to 9 mining. The Oracle comes in as well. No Spore. No Spore in position. Getting 5 drones so far. Getting 5, 6, 7. Getting up to 8. Oh my god. The Oracle's at the back of. There we go. 7 drone kills. Sebestis pulls away. And so far, very nice damage at the third. Delayed mining time. Makes sure he has to re-drone. Has to resaturate. Lair is almost done. No Evo Chamber. Just now being thrown down. And after all those losses, it would make sense if Mixu were to commit. We'll see. We'll see if he drones up any further, and he is. Okay, we have the answer. 6 more drones. 6 more drones. He's droning up to 70. He's getting up to 4 base saturation, which means there's a higher chance he's going Roach into Hydra. That's his Roach speed. Droning up to 70. Gases are being taken. Okay. Taking our gases. So far, Mixu making a safety amount of Roaches. Spinning creep. We'll see how hard he commits. Losing Queen, losing 2 Overlords, getting supply blocked as well. 5 more, 6 more Overlords on the way. Mixu, he might be done droning. He did drone up to 72. That is, I mean, we have some saturation at the 4th base, but he might just cut workers here and just commit with pure Roach Queen. Roach Queen Ling. As I mentioned before, because of all the earlier losses, because he lost 7 drones at the beginning of the game, he might just feel like he's forced into an all-in where he has to commit. Because I don't see a Hydra Den. Sebestis is still trading well. Ooh, bleeds out a couple of Stalkers. Lings are punished. We have Burrow on the way. Interesting. Getting to Burrow. Baneless as well. Heading into Ling Bane Roach Ravager. And the longer this game goes on, the better it is for Sebestis. He's getting a second Robo, getting a Bait, getting into Colossus production. It's all or nothing for Mixu. It's go time. Here we go. We'll see if he can break the third. He gets swatted. Sebestis is aware, getting in position. Colossus production has begun. He just needs a little bit more time. And Mixu can't quite engage. Gets a Stalker, not even. Nice blink control. And Mixu is missing his timing. Yeah, he's missing his window here. He's getting bullied back. He bleeds out all the Lings, bleeds out Roaches. The Colossus are coming. And once they arrive, I don't see the Roach Ravager army breaking through. And remember, as we mentioned, like the longer this game goes on, the worse it becomes for Mixu. Let's go for Dropper Lords. He's still not droning up. He's still not teching. And Mixu's getting ready for the second wave. Oh! Comes the second army. Banelings are denied. Yeah, there's already 2, soon to be 4 Colossus. Oh, Colossus out of position. Bars revealed. Uh oh. No tunneling claws. He was trying to get revelation on the tunneling claw roaches. That does give Sebestis pause. He throws down cannons. Cannons on the way, observers on the way as well. Oh no, he doesn't see. Oh, the trap, it's actually working. He umbers. Timing on the Colossus, gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. Oh my god. Takes down all 3 Colossus. Very nice pickups. And Sebestis, he'll lose everything. He'll lose the entire army. Oh my god. You know, I was gonna bring up the fact that, like, I wonder if he's just like staying here hoping that Sebestos moves out, and it worked. GG. GG gets called. Mixu, he springs the trap, unburrows on top of the army, and with that, Mixu takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. That should not have happened again. Sebestos, he had the better army in a head-on fight that was favoring the Protoss, but he lost everything immediately. He was caught out on the map. He was caught with his pants down. Impressive is what I will say. Impressive that Mixu was able to pounce on the army, burrow underneath it without tunneling claws. Like, remember, there was no tunneling claws. There was no way for the roaches to actually move in position and actually tunnel under the army. He had to wait for the army to get on top of him. It was a big risk. It was a big gamble. Crazy. I'm very, very impressed and surprised it worked out. GG. GG, well played. Mixu in style, papi. Oh my god. Thought that was obvious, maybe only for us. If you remember, I should say that Sebestos, he thought that there was tunneling claws, so he was trying to spot the army. That's why he had the revelation. And obviously he didn't know where the army was. So unfortunately, a bit of a mystery out of Sebestos. Also a little bit unfortunate because I don't know if you remember, Sebestos, he had an observer. It was popping up from the robo, but it wasn't with the army. The observer was on the way, right? The observer was on the way. If the observer was with the army, different story, but it was lagging a little bit behind. Well, it's lagging behind, and here we go. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Tokamak, we have the yellow Protoss player, the yellow Protoss himself, representing Team Brody from land of Czechia. It is Sebestos. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, winning that last game in style with the burrow roaches without tunneling claws, by the way. Just laying the trap and springing it on his opponent. We'll see if we can do something like that again. If we have the finish very clear, it is Mixu. Let's go. The pants were completely down. That was that was crazy. Aye, aye, aye. He had 4 Colossus back. Yeah, how do you deal with Colossus? You just let your opponent come to you. True, true. Big gamble out of Mixu. From here we're building up. We do have a gate expand out of Sebestos. So standard opener, likewise hatch gas pool out of Mixu as well. And welcome to Tokamak. Tokamak is one of the larger, more defensive maps in the map pool. One of the more defensive maps. With this, you can build up on a higher base count, and this is honestly going to be a really good map for Sebestos to turtle up on 4 bases. If he wants to turtle on 4 bases and get into Sky Toss, this is the map to go for it on. At the same time, I would say that this is maybe a better map for Muta play. If Mixu, if he wants to go into Spire Tech, into Mutas, like, it would make a lot of sense here on Tokamak as well. So Mixu has options. He has options, man. Likewise, you could try to embrace a longer and later game and tech up very quickly into lurkers. Also an option. So now we're building up. First Adept moves out. Unlike the last game, there's no Stalker. Last game it was Adept into Stalker. This time double Adept from Sebestos, being a little more active, being a little more in the face of Mixu. Oh, and Sebestos opening up Void Ray first. Okay, not Oracle. With this, he'll be hunting down the Overlords, he'll be denying vision, and we can, from here, go into potentially some hidden tech, like a Fleet Beacon into Tempest, or like a Twilight Council into Glaive Adepts. Meanwhile, that's all the links. Jesus, that's a massive link flood on the way. 16 links in production, Adepts stay shaded into the natural. Drones are going to be going down, getting 3 drone kills, not bad. Gets 3 drones, but the Adepts, will they actually scout what's coming his way? Sebestos, he does not. Yeah, Lings, they avoid the Adept. They make their way across the map. The wall is open. Uh-oh. The wall is open. The Void Ray moves out. The Void Ray is going to be less than ideal to defend. As Warp Gate is not complete and Lings are flooding in. Yeah, no Warp Gate. He cannot wall off. The pylons under fire. And so as GG gets called, he will lose everything. There's no defensive Oracle. There's no wall. There's no Sim City. And Mixu will win the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. A very fast, very swift game. We were talking about, I was expecting a longer, later game, especially on Tokamak. You can build up, but alas, we saw that Sebestis was a little bit too greedy. He did opt to go for the Void Ray. He opted to delay his wall off. Unfortunately, with the Adepts, he failed to scout the Link Flood. He did commit in, which meant that he was his vision was limited. His vision was limited. He was in the middle line instead. He was killing workers. He did not see the massive Link Flood coming. He was in the dark. GG, well played with that. Mixu takes a very fast game 2 and takes the series. Impressive play here. Not gonna lie, I was definitely leaning towards Sebestis a lot more coming into this series. And again, game 1 had a lot of potential, but Sebestis did slip up. He was unable to scout, or he was unable to confirm where the army was, and he just stumbled upon the Roach army and he lost everything. Here in game 2, took a risk and failed to scout the all-in, the Link Flood. GG, well played. With that, Mixu will advance on. Sebestis, he is out of the tournament. He's out of the OSC Elite Rising Star tournament. And Mixu will advance on to face off against... who? Oh, Demi. Let's go. So he will advance on. It's going to be ZVZ, not up next, but for Mixu's next opponent, it will be a Zerg player, fellow Zerg player in Demi. So best of luck to the two. They'll be facing off next time. Meanwhile, we're going to be hopping on over here to another matchup. We do have Rebellion versus Hatsu coming up next in another PvZ. Coming into this is going to be a bit of a more intense matchup for the Zerg player. Hatsu does have some cheeky builds, and we have seen Hatsu punch up before, but it is going to be a mountain to climb, and best of luck. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the South Green Protoss player. We have the Pink Protoss representing among us the two people. It is Rebellion. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Purple Zerg player representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Hatsu. Here we go. We're getting into our PvZ, and again, Hatsu has been very active. Is more of an amateur player, I will say that. Is more of an amateur player, but despite being more of an amateur player, despite being up against these big GMs, pros, and semi-pros, Hatsu is still very active when it comes to the online tournament scene, competes in almost everything. Doesn't stop Hatsu, and likewise has some cheeky builds, some very cheeky builds, some very cheeky all-ins. We'll see if we go for any kind of earlier gas or pool timing. For now, Hatch first. Hatch first out of Hatsu. Meanwhile, Rebellion likewise going for his own gate expand. Rebellion can also be very unorthodox. Rebellion, he often does have some quirky builds, going for Twilight Council openers, Stargate into Tempest, or double Stargate into Massive Void Ray, going into Mothership rushes. Like, Rebellion can be very quirky in his own play. And can be a very tricky play to play against. Also, before I forget, predictions. Get your Gamba going. It's Gamba time in the chat. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our 4th best of 3. Bearing in mind, we have one more best of 3 after this. Uno más, papi, uno más. So we have 5 in total. And again, some of these series have been a little bit shorter. Some of the games have been very short, to be fair. Like the one we just had. The Hatsu does move out. So let's check the natural. And we're still waiting for our first tech of choice. But now we're just droning, saturating, okay, taking our 3rd base. Hatsu going for the linear 3rd. And we do have our tech. It's going to be a Stargate. So Stargate opener out of Rebellion. Let's open Stargate. Got 96 grade. I forgot. We've had some people in the chat that have been very unfortunate when it comes to their predictions as of late. Aye. Devs in the chat for the grapes. Let's get the first Oracle on the way. It doesn't commit. And again, I'm still curious to see if Rebellion does go for anything before his third base. Meanwhile, welcome to ley lines, as we do have a very early Baneliness. I get scattered, no! Rebellion commits to the shade, scouts a Baneliness. Again, a Baneliness is early on is very unorthodox, and we might just go for a Link Bane all in. We'll keep an eye on the production tab. I mean, Hatsu may not commit now just because Hatsu got scouted. Baneliness has been seen, and more gas is on the way. That's a lot of gas, Jesus, that's a lot of gas, and still no lair. Curious. Oracle gets into the natural, gets 3 more drone kills, confirms that gases are being taken. You do not need this much gas for just banelings, so the plan here must be something different. Lair is on the way with 4 gases. This might just be Lingbane Muta. Well, we might be going towards Muta play instead, but the lair is a little bit late though. Roaches. But this is a very messy follow-up here from Hatsu, but a part of that might just be because of the scouts. I do think that the plan initially was to go for a Bane all-in, but again, we'll see what's scouted. High chance for Rebellion to be ready for it. You can see here shield batteries are on the way, so he's getting ready just in case. And Rebellion goes in for the scouts, confirms the lair. Ooh, going for the stasis. The reaction! Stasis goes off. Adapts into the natural. Drones are going down. Getting 2, getting 3, up to 4 drone kills. Ay. We're gonna get more than that. Cancel the shade. 6 drones. And here comes a follow-up. I will say a delayed follow-up here by Rebellion. You can see Rebellion banking up a lot of resources. So late Twilight Council, late Forge, a messy follow-up here from Rebellion. Hatsu goes for a massive counterattack, but there are plenty of Oracles to deal with this. 3 Oracles race back home. Oh, with the early Zello Warpins, this might not be Blink, this might be Charge. Okay. Interesting. Yep, more Zealots are warping in. You would never warp in Zealots unless you plan on going into Charge. And we're getting a 4th Oracle. Oh, God. So Rebellion's having fun. Another Oracle. There we go. Charge is on the way, and this should be a very strong +1 charge timing. Spore isn't done. The Queen gets focused down. He's getting out of hand. Spore. Ooh, doesn't get the Oracle. And everything's falling apart here. Everything's falling apart. 8 drones, Queen and the Spore. I was curious what all the gas is going to be spent on. It's going to be Roach Hydra, which isn't a bad composition. It's just the economy is lacking. The economy is lacking here. And this timing for Rebellion is going to hit like a truck. It's going to hit hard. Timing on the roaches. Hydras get spotted. Oh. Spots the Hydras, gets the hell out of there. Pulls away. And we're still waiting for the upgrades. Again, these upgrades are hitting late just because Rebellion's build was very messy. Just all the tech was delayed. As Rebellion was hyper-fixating on the Adept control. So this is giving Hatsu time to recover. Hatsu is redroning. But I'll be honest, without Banelings and without a high Roach count, these elves will just overwhelm. They'll just walk over. What's the army? 1 Roach, 1 Ravager, 5 high. There's no army. there is no army here. The Zealots, they do spend their charge on the hatchery. I will say that. That actually will help Hatsu. I mean, the hatchery is still going to go down. Oh god, no! Hydras, they commit in. Hydras will go down. And these Zealots overwhelm. They kill the Lings, they kill the Hydras. The Zealots, they kill everything. The army, the base. GG gets called, and Rebellion will take game number 1. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Again, just a very messy early game here, but I do believe a lot of it came down to the early scouts. Remember, Hatsu got a very early Baneling nest and never made any Banelings. Why? Got scouted, right? Got scouted. I'm pretty sure the plan was to go for a Bane bust, was to go for a Bane all-in, but it got scouted by the Adepts, it got scouted by Rebellion, and as a result, we tried to pivot away from the Banelings into Roaches, into Gases, but again, it was a really messy follow-up there. The transition wasn't clean, and with that, did all fall apart. GG. GG, well played. With that, Rebellion does take the first game, does take a lead, and now we're jumping to game number 2. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Golden, jeez, this is a map. Golden Aura, it's been a while, Bab. It's been over a year? 2 years? Maybe a year and a half. It's been a while. It's been a while here, but spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the pink Protoss player. We have the South Korean Protoss representing among us the 2 people, leading the series 1-0. It is Rebellion. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the purple Zerg player. The purple Zerg player for the Platinum Heroes, it is Hatsu. Let's go. Let us go. But again, Golden Aura, it's been quite some time here. Golden Aura, since it's been in the map pool, was around for a long time as well. One of the larger maps of the map pool has a bit of a more exposed low ground setup here. So an exposed low ground 4th base. Likewise, the triangular 3rd here is a little bit more spread out as well. But for the most part, we would often see a lot of late game. We often see a lot of late game here on Golden Aura. You get up on 4 or 5 bases, you turtle up back at home and get into Sky Toss. That was the go-to, but as you just mentioned, Rebellion, he's not the most standard of players. Rebellion likes to be aggressive, likes to be active. We even saw it last game. It was a little bit messy. Oh no, the spawning pool! Delayed spawning pool here for Hatsu. Ay. Throwing down a pool here on the top side, but cheeky moves out of Rebellion, body blocking the pool. Again, just being as annoying as possible. Este Rebellion. But last game, we saw the early charge timing. Again, it was a little bit messy when it came to the execution, but still like an aggressive build. And that's kind of what we're expecting here. Whether it's charge, whether it's glaze, whether it's a rush into a second Stargate. We're expecting shenanigans. And likewise, I expect shenanigans out of Hatsu as well. Again, I do believe that the intention of game 1 was to go for a Bane bust, but was forced out of it. This time, can we successfully hide the tech? Can we hide the build? That was a move. Love it. It's, the amount of frustrations to be had if you get blocked at your spawning pool, like, that is so annoying. That throws off your entire build, to be honest. And Hatsu's rushing into a very fast third. Jesus. Very fast third base for a ZVP, I should add. You often do get it this early, like, against the Terran opponents, for sure. Against Protoss, we're going to have a lot of larva early on. A lot of larva. Hatsu doesn't pull out of gas. At this stage, we should be pulling out. So if we're getting a fast 3rd expansion, if we're staying in gas, are we going for a Bane bust this time? Are we going to commit this time? I'm leaning towards yes. Show us the Baneling nest, or show us the lair. Like, again, otherwise there's no point in this gas. As here we go. Here comes a Link Flood. We have a mass amount of Links on the way. Hatsu's trying to hide some of those Links as well. Again, the gas is throwing me off. We can afford a Baneling nest if that was the plan. As this could otherwise just be more minerals than it could be more Links as a result. So excess gas. But here comes the Flood. Here comes the all-in. At least the fast 3rd base makes sense, just for larva. So far, the wall of solid shield batteries on the way. We'll see if Rebellion can buy some time. Link speed is done. We're flooding in. We're going for the Cyber Core. But now we have backup shield battery. The first shield battery does complete. We have the NG overcharge as well. And Rebellion's buying a lot of time. Buying a lot of time here. Now we have a secondary wall, a 3rd shield battery. Warp Gate complete. Warp Gate is done. Stalkers, they pull away. Cyber Core gets sniped. There's the NG overcharge. And the Lings, they cannot break through. They just cannot break through here. It's not happening. The second shield barrier will finish up in time. Will barely not save the Stalker, but saves the other. And we're running out of steam. Hatsu's running out of steam. Still completely all in. Still Zero joining back at home. Going for the gateway. But once again, we have another re-wall. We have a sentry, force fields. Rebellion does have a very low gateway count, true. So it's backing up a lot of resources. Needs extra gateways. That is hurting Rebellion. Speaking of, that's a kill. That's a kill, not a cancel. Hatsu kills the gates, cancels another, but still cannot break the natural. There we go. Finally some gateways. Rebellion banking almost 1,000 minerals. We need the gateways. And Zella got surrounded. Wasting some of the energy in the shield batteries. But overall, Rebellion is still holding. Rebellion is still holding fine. Defense on 2 bases, and there's no follow-up here. Like, you cannot start droning suddenly. It's too late for that. There's a reason why it's just called an all-in. We gotta commit. Oh! As Link say, oh, they don't quite make it in. They don't slip past. Nice force fields at a Rebellion. One Stalker gets surrounded. Jesus, 1,000 minerals. Again, like, there were no backup gateways. No backup gateways, no backup production, so... The macro has not been ideal, but regardless, GG gets called. The all-in has failed, and Rebellion will take the series 2-0. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Congratulations here to Rebellion as it does claim the series 2-0 here. Again, Hatsu did come in with some very aggressive builds. Game 1 was denied the aggression just because of the early scout, so it led into a really wonky mid-game. Here in game number 2, we saw the all-in, the Link Flood. Unfortunately, Link Floods are very difficult to make work in ZVP just because of the shield battery, just because of the surface area, just because of how tanky the Stalker is as well. It is not easy to pull this off, and in the end, Rebellion was able to wall up in time. Did have some inefficiencies when it came to the response, when it came to the production, but overall was able to defend in time, was able to get the shield batteries up, get the sentry out, get the force fields going. GG. GG, well played. The defense was solid enough. And with that, we have 1 series left. Una más, papi, una más. 1 series remaining here. It is going to be a best of 3 between Terran and Protoss this time. We're done with the PVZs. We've had 3 PVZs back to back to back. Now it's time for a TVP. It's going to be Moja versus Art. Oh boy, Moja, a very aggressive player, a very aggressive German player. We'll see if Art can keep up. I do favor Art in the mid game, but I favor Moja in the early game. So I'm ready. I'm ready for the shenanigans. Let's load into game 1. It's going to be on Tokamak. So again, this is the final series of the broadcast. Let's go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tokamak, we have the red Protoss player. We have the red Protoss himself representing Quasar. It is Art. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the German Terran player. We have the blue Terran. It is Moja. Here we go. And again, Moja is known for aggression. I mean, there's a reason why Moja's clan is called 8-Racks. Was known for a lot of 8-Racks, of course, in TVZ, and known for a lot of aggression, known for a lot of proxies, even some mech mixed in as well. And we'll see how Moja approaches TVP in the current meta, where mech is less viable, and where 2-base all-ins are less viable as well, I would say. Does Moja embrace a macro game? Is he forced to? CC, I was confused. I was like, where's the max? CC first at a Moja. Bold move, Pappy, bold move. Straight up CC first. The greediest build you can go for, the greediest opener you can go for in a TVP. Art is coming in with a Probe Scout. Art will confirm the greed of Moja. Yep, gets eyes on the CC, gets eyes on the lack of racks. And we'll see how Art responds. We'll see how Art reacts. Gamma, oh true, Sorry, I'm out of it today. So out of it. If you're in the chat, predictions open. Predictions open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. It is Gamba time, babe. Best of luck. Do apologize. I'm just a little bit out of it. It's been a long day of casting, babe. It's been a long day. Oh. Polish art or IU? If you can see, I mean, you can notice the names themselves. The Polish art is on Platinum Heroes. The other art is on Quasar, and also the names are spelled differently as well. One is full capitalized, the other is not. The other has a lowercase r. So different spelling, different team, different introduction, different player, different kind of art. For now, though, we are going to be opening up. Again, Moja getting into the delayed racks, into the delayed factory. Again, a very greedy start here from Moja. Art back at home is going for a Twilight Council, and I'm curious to see if Art goes into 4-gate. I do like the idea of going 4-gate Blink to punish the Terran player, just because everything is more delayed. Scouting is going to be less available as well. So there are ways to abuse the Terran, and we'll see if Art goes for that or plays it safe and just expands and embraces the mid game against Moja, where Moja would have the added advantage. And there it is. We're setting up for a very fast third. When I say fast third, 1-gate Blink. No, 1-gate expand. Like, that's like, hold on. No, Blink wasn't even researched, by the way. So gate into Cybercore, into Twilight Council, into a third Nexus before a second gateway. This is insane greed as well. So Art's reaction to the greed of Moja is to beat him in the game of greed here, is to get a hyper fast third base as well. So Art is cutting corners, so is Moja. As a European TVP, true. So we're just trying to outgreed each other. Hallucination confirms the add-on swap, gets eyes on the Banshee play. Let's get eyes. Sorry, I say Banshee play. I mean, it still could be a Raven-based opener for a Raven harass, true. So Art is not fully aware. Behind this, going for later gateways. He's setting up. And so far, we'll see who's going to be the first initial aggressor here, as we're just building up back at home. We have the tanks getting in position. Interesting, I believe, did go for just the one Banshee. Just one Banshee and add-on swap into fast stim. So faster stim out of Moja. Building up his tanks on 2 bases. First Banshee does get across the map, and how much damage do we get done? Supply gets 1. Gets 2. 2 bros, but it does rally in, and the Banshee goes down. That is not worth it here. Banshee with 3 workers. Yeah, rough trade for Moja, who was hoping for more. Hallucination confirms stim is on the way, confirms no additional Banshees, is confirming the buyer tank. So Artie sees everything. And he's going for a very gateway heavy composition. Delayed Storm, delayed Colossus into faster charge. So far are looking solid. Are looking comfortable. And Moja, you said I see 2 more maxes. 2 more maxes being thrown down. If this was going to be a more of a economic kind of setup here, economic build, we would see a 3rd CC. This is going to be 2 extra maxes before the 3rd CC, and if we don't get add-ons, this screams 2 base all in. So we'll see if we do get add-ons. We'll see if Moja builds up. Has no add-ons. Yeah, no add-ons here. He's just making a straight up Marines. Going straight Marines here on his Raxes. So 2 base all in. He may pull the boys with this. He has the option to pull the boys. He's moving out with his tanks. Art is slowing this down. Gets a Marine, gets 2. 2 Marines go down. There's a sim on the Marauders. Opts not to pull the boys, but still rallying everything across there. There it is. Does pull the boys. The boys are being pulled. It's all or nothing. As I mentioned, 2 base all in. Again, the tell was the lack of add-ons and the lack of third TC, of course. And Art is trying to slow this down. He's got mass charge lots. The tanks are on siege. He's diving on the tanks. Tanks getting called out. Losing 1 tank already. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks are going to go down. The Zealot trades so well against this. Shutting down every single tank, and with that, the all-in has failed. And Moja will lose everything in the center, doesn't even threaten the bases. Art gets a 4th base in the middle of the all-in. Ay, ay, ay. Very confident play out of Art. But I mean, he's fine. He's perfectly fine. Getting further ahead. Moja has nothing. Moja's on a 1-base economy. He's on 1 base, man. Ay, ay, ay. Oof. And Moja still trying to rally, mustering up a second wave, a second army, but the reality is the second wave is that much weaker. Remember, with the first push he had 4 tanks, now he has 0. He has 0 tanks, at least with this main push. His army gets spotted. Art is rotating. And Art will shut him down. GG gets called. Art takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Again, Moja had a little potential, I will say, with his build. A very cheeky opener, I will say, but I love that Art kind of met him and even exceeded Moja in that greed, rushing into a very fast 3rd base, into fast 3-base saturation, into charge, into a heavy Zealot army. Because of the boosted economy, that led into more Zealots than normal. He already had the Immortal, and he was able to scout the move out as well. Spot the push, spot the all-in, slow it down, and get ready on top of the ramp. GG. GG, well played. Art saw everything he needed to and did overwhelm Moja, and now we're loading into game number 2. Now, what I will say about game 2, about Maganatha, is that this is a better map for all-ins. Tokamak, there are so many ramps and so many areas where you can engage. It is a much more defensive 4-base setup. Here, the map is a little bit more open, so it does allow for some greater aggressive potential, but we'll see. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Maganatha, we have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Quasar. It is Art. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the German Terran player, we have the blue Terran. It is Moja. Now, when it comes to Moja, I did mention earlier that he was known for a couple of things in the past. He was known for mech, he was known for all-ins, right? He was known for being hyper-aggressive. I was curious coming into the series if that trend continues, because I will say in the current patch, in the current meta, all-ins are weaker than what they once were. They're less relevant, they're less powerful, less potent, especially on some of these larger maps. So I was curious to see if Moja was adjusting his approach. So far, I'll say no. He's still going for the all-ins. And we'll see if he goes for it again in game 2. As Art does move out with his probe scouts. At least it was less mech. I mean, sure, but I mean, at the same time, like mech was fun in TVP last season. It was battle mech, of course. But again, like battle mech is no longer viable. Oh, I say no, it's less viable. True. It's less viable than it once was. Due to the change of the Cyclone. We have still been seeing mech in recent times, but it's been like a more traditional form of mech, of Hellion tank. If you remember, if you were here this morning, Baby Marine, he was playing a lot of mech this morning. Against Yang Yakov. And we have still seen Cure whip out mech as well. Again, that more like traditional, like heavy tank style of mech. Like heavy tank Hellion. Less so with Cyclones. For now though, we are building up. We have Moja getting his CC on low ground. This time we did have an economic opener, a Rax expand. This time nowhere near as greedy is what I will say. Sorry, I say economic opener. He opened up Rax factory on 1 gas. Wait, what? Yeah, he went for a delayed CC. Okay. Got my attention. So a very late command center here for Moja, but did only open up one gas, which is interesting to me. Going for a reacted marine. And we'll see if we go for early tanks. This looks really weird. It's looking a little bit odd here. Oh. Okay, now we see why. Insanely fast stim. So really early add-on swap here for a fast tech lab on the ranks. For really fast stim, this looks like an earlier 2-base all-in. Hallucination goes in. Hallucination will scout the add-on swap. And this confirms that tank production is more delayed, as he just now starts the tank. But again, you can see the prioritization of stim. And Art sees everything. Sees everything. Behind this, he should go for a safe opener. For now, what do we have? We have one gate in the main. We have one gate at the natural. Remember last game, RT went for a gate expand into a third base off of one gateway. Here, 3 gates. Very safe play by Art, which I do like. Again, as I mentioned before, like this should be hitting earlier. Rushing into combat shields. Dolan, is that you? Dolan, he had an all-in. He had a 2-base all-in where you rush with vanilla marines or with marines with only combat shields and tanks, and the marines are just to buffer, and the tanks are the real damage dealers. Curious. But Dolan did have that build. It was on I think Cosmic Sapphire. That was the map where he showcased it on. I think during WTL. Oh, the Dolan builds. I say Dolan build. I think I remember Oliveira doing it as well. I think I remember Oliveira. Of course, back when he was an active player. Yes, once again, we have non-stop hallucinations. We do have the third gateway, sorry, the fourth gateway finishing up, so 4-gate blink. Oh my god. So we turn this from a defensive build, and it is very defensive. You can see immortal production underway as well. Art, he's expecting an all-in. He's getting ready for it. He's being very, he has a very strong reaction, I should say. Massing up a massive army. He scouts, he sees extra add-ons, extra production, and that should prompt a War Prism. So here come the Stalkers. So late third base, I will say that Art is in a really weird position. Basically, Art was getting ready for an all-in that isn't coming yet. So Art, he's a little bit inefficient in his response. He could have thrown down a faster third, he just didn't know. And likewise, the Immortal was a waste as well. Like getting that early Immortal doesn't really lead to anything. He even cancelled. Yeah, he just cancelled the Immortal. I don't blame Art, especially after what he scouted. But a really nice deviation here by Moja. Oh, it's supply blocked. So a rough supply block there from Moja. Third CC. Okay. Going for the third CC before extra Raxes. He does scan. He snipes the observer. Denies the scouts. And Art sees nothing. And I actually really like this. Like Art, as I mentioned before, he was terrified of an all-in. And as a result, Art's own build has been inefficient. Still trading well though. Picking up a couple Marines. It's 3 Marines going down. Art pulls away, getting his third base up and running. Again, a late third base for Art. He's massing up charge outs, and Moja shouldn't be pushing. He should not be pushing out. He's getting a third base, so it's all about just posturing, gaining map control, and establishing that third economy. And again, Art's third base is very late. The saturation here is heavily delayed. So getting into a macro game, Moja's going to be in a better position as long as he can get his third. Like, if he can land his third base, if he can saturate, then he'll be fine. Art's, because his third base, because of the low saturation, low economy here, it looks like Art is basically being forced into an all-in himself. What I'm getting at, when Moja tries to expand, Art is going to be waiting for him. Like, look at this, like, Art has a massive army. And he could just pull the trigger himself. And this is a situation where Moja forced this. Like, Moja forced Art to make this army. And Moja, he forced this overreaction of Art. And now suddenly Art has a massive army to work with, and he might just end the game with this. Like, if Art is passive, then Moja takes the lead. But like Art has a lot to work with here, and he has a big window in time where he can break this third. Here he comes. And he's got 20 zealots. It's gonna be a tough hold. Tanks are sieged. Art is moving in. Now, if Moja can defend this third base, then he can take an economic lead. But it's easier said than done. It's also spot on the left-hand side. Storm has begun. Oh, Moja moves out. He gets spotted. Moja gets spotted by the observer. Alright, he collapses on the army, and now Moja's exposed. Yeah, the tanks are on their own. They're on their own. Bappy Zelce diving in. The tanks are going to be going down. He gets one. He's going to get two. Both tanks go down, and Moja's being broken. The third base is going to fall. Ay, ay, ay. Moja out of position. That's going to be a kill in the CC. Oh, will it? Oh, he does get it. And Moja, he doesn't get away with his third base. Doesn't get away with it. Yeah, just a brutal moment here for Moja. He was spotted by the observer. He was out of position. There's a recall back home. Saves the Archons. And Art takes a lead. Art, he was behind economically. He was down a base. He was in a rough position. But now suddenly everything's changed. Suddenly he killed the CC. And now Moja pulls the boys. Yeah, he pulls the boys. His two base all in. This was never the intention. This was never the plan. But he's forced into a two base all in. And Storm is done. He's got storms. And we're holding on to it. There we go. There's the first one out. He runs through the storm. Massive damage. We have what, 3 more storms left. There's the first. And there's 2 more. Yeah, there's 2 more. The army goes through the storm once again. And you can see this army running out of steam. He'll also the SCVs. 23 SCVs go down. There's the storm. Ay, ay, ay. And GG gets called. The all-in is failed. And Art, he will take the series 2-0. Taking down and eliminating Moja from the tournament. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Congratulations here to Art. Again, a very technical series is what I will say. Really interesting build out of 2 players as well. Like Moja, he wasn't in a bad position there necessarily. Moja, he kind of faked a 2-base all in. He pivoted into a third base. Art had an overreaction, referring to game 2. And Art was in a rough position. He was down a base, or he was down in economy, which is something you never see in a TVP. He was in a worse position, but he had a massive army to work with. And in a head-on fight, I think that Moja could have held, but if you remember, Moja moved out. The observer spotted a massive move out of Moja. He moved out with the majority of his bio army. He left the tanks and a couple of reinforcements back at home, which meant that he was vulnerable. So as he moved out, Art moved in. Art moved in, he sniped the tanks, he shut down the Marines, the bio army that was reinforcing, and of course he killed the CC and he forced Moja into an all-in. GG, well played. So again, just really unfortunate there for Moja that he didn't know where the army was, basically. He just didn't know where Art was, and he also got spotted himself. So it was a game of vision, and Art, he saw everything he needed to. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Art. My condolences to Moja as he's knocked out of the tournament, and I believe we do have some updates here on the brackets. Un momento. We do have some updates. Let us quickly head on over. Here we go. Oh, so exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the pack yourselves. Again, Shameless took down Jumi earlier this morning. Percival took down Young Yakov, and we have Shameless versus Percival in the upper portion of the bracket. Meanwhile, coming down to the lower bracket, we do have Nicoract. If you remember, Nicoract, he took down Foxer earlier today. Did take him down 2-1, and we have Nicoract versus Hydra in that lower bracket. Meanwhile, Mixu took down Sebestus, and Mixu's up against Demi in the lower bracket round 2. We have Rebellion. I believe that should be Rebellion versus Art. I think Art did advance on a face-off against Rebellion. They're going to be facing off there. I think that's the case. We have Baby Marine. He's waiting for the winner of those matches. We have Minovi K. Minovi K is up against Prime. Winner goes up against Lelix. And of course, we have Young Yakov and Jumi waiting further along in the bracket. So again, the lower bracket is progressing. The upper bracket is as well. And if you want to tune into more of this tournament as we are progressing through the event itself. I mean, my favorite players are still Shameless, Percival, and Young Yakov. Those are the players that are on my eyes when it comes to the players that I'm paying attention to when it comes to the best players of their respective races in this tournament. But there are other players like Jumi, for example, like Jumi, like Baby Marine, like Mixu, like Nicoract. There's some other heavy hitters here that can go on deep runs themselves. So best of luck to everyone involved. But when it comes to the next broadcast, should be tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we should have 5 more matches. I think they're going to be lower bracket matches once again. I think that's the plan, is for more lower brackets, more lower bracket participation. I think that's the plan here, to cover some of these mirror matchups, like Mindle versus Perm and Demi versus Mixu and Hydra versus Nicoract. I don't have confirmation yet, but I will soon. Will soon. But as you can see, that's our schedule. We just wrapped up with our Monday evening broadcast, and you can see Tuesday morning we have another OSC cast, more OSC coverage, I should say. That is going to be tomorrow morning. We have Piggstar Cup on Wednesday. We have the Warden TV Monday broadcast on Wednesday as well. We have Turtle Hustle, the Pondcast, and we have Kung Fu Cup starting on Friday. A lot of matches to catch up on with Kung Fu Cup. We'll be all over that starting Friday into Saturday, and Sunday is Sparkling Tuna Cup. So we have plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft as always here on the channel. This is our weekly schedule, and coming into December, we will have even more to come. Oh boy. A lot of content, a lot of StarCraft. Of course, in December, we have the RSL offline event. We have the Platinum StarCraft League as well, and we have the remainder of Kung Fu Cup. So plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft all around the corner. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. A shout out to all of our competitors here tonight, and a shout out to all the up-and-comers as well in the OSC Rising event. A shout out to Eddie and OSC for hosting this tournament as well. It's great to see support for the up-and-comers. Back in the day, we used to have like the Junior StarCraft League. We used to have the Apprentice tournaments as well. There used to be a lot more for younger up-and-coming players. Nowadays, a lot of those tournaments have fallen by the wayside, so really important, really crucial that we have an event like the OSC Elite Rising Star tournament to foster that talent. So big shout out to OSC. Otherwise, if you want to support us, if you want to follow us, !socials. Bam, we have the socials in the chat. We have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. All things CranKy Ducklings. We do upload on YouTube on a daily basis, and we stream on YouTube as well. So if you see something that you like here, and if you want to watch more StarCraft, then I do recommend the VODs over on YouTube. We just wrapped up with the RSL Season 3 playoffs over the weekend. They did conclude. We co-streamed the event. All the VODs are already on YouTube, so you can check it out there. A lot of really fun matches there. A lot of best of sevens. Hero versus Maru. Again and again and again. They played so often in that tournament. We got some very high level TVP. I do recommend the VODs, as we had some crazy exciting games. Do recommend it. Likewise, we had Hero competing, Classic, Shin, and many others. So do recommend the RSL playoffs. Again, all the VODs are on YouTube. For the most part, if you remember, we did miss out on half of day one just because we didn't realize that they had rescheduled. So we missed out on part of the day one broadcast, but all the other days we covered everything. It's all there. It is all there. Otherwise, you can also support us via Patreon, !Patreon in the chat. You can see our current goal just under the schedule. Bam. Just down there under the schedule, you can see that we do currently earn 599 USD a month via Patreon out of our goal of 670. And again, all that money goes towards our tournaments. It all goes towards the Duckling Open and Masters 1 Open and Sparkling Tuna Cup. It all goes towards our events to help us grow the events and boost the prize pool even further. So you can help us grow our tournaments, you can help the scene, you can help the players by supporting us on Patreon. If you wish, you can do so via Patreon. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, a bit of a shorter broadcast today, 2.5 hours, a little bit shorter, but that means that we get some more rest. So it's okay. It's okay, man. It's okay. And again, we'll be back tomorrow with more OSC, OSC. That is going to be in around 12 hours. In 12 hours time, we'll be back with some more StarCraft. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft 2 streamer a raid. Who is live at the moment? Who is live? We've been raiding sort of a lot. We're raiding a lot of sort of. But he currently has a lot of viewers. So, oh, Reaper is live. Ah, Este Reaper. Could raid Reaper. I see Luis. Luis has been giving us a lot of love recently, so we can give some love back to Luis as well. I see Strange is live. Este Strange. Who else? Not many others, actually. not many others, but we'll give some love to Reaper. Again, like we've been rating sort of quite a lot, and he has almost 200 viewers at the moment, so he's fine. Reaper, he's an NA Zerg player. NA Zerg. So give him some love. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Ciao, papi, ciao. See you next time.